Hi friends, today we'll be talking about pharmacophore modelings and their methods. I'll take you a little back which we have discussed before regarding that 2D QSR methods and the 3D QSR methods. This is also one of the 3D QSR methods which we deal through the pharmacophore based approach. So first we must understand about that what is pharmacophore. As you can recall those things which we have discussed in beginning itself and define little about the pharmacophore, right? So pharmacophore is defined in such a way any drug like compounds which show the drug ability to become a drugs and their entire drugs orientations, which we can say that their entire atomic orientations into the receptor sites is called the pharmacophore. In another way which we can understand that every compound, either small or big, have their own atomic orientations, have their own structures. In general, in small compounds which have less than 100 atoms or 120 atoms, which can be arranged into the receptor sites by using different approaches like molecular modeling approaches, docking and scoring approaches, molecular simulation approaches, and indirect drug design approaches, direct drug design approaches, and many other approaches which we have learned before, how the drug has interacted into the receptor sites. So if we talk about the interactions, so drugs entirely is not going to interact with that entire molecules of the receptors or proteins or DNA, RNA, right? So of course we must understand that the atoms of drug type of molecules or atoms of any compounds which are going to interact with atoms of any residues of any molecules of any proteins or any DNA, RNAs. So how these atoms are oriented into the receptor sites in terms of what is that atomic distances between the interactions, what are the angular distances between the interactions, torsional distances between that atoms, and many more. So here we have some pharmacophore features, pharmacophore descriptors to identify those orientations. As we have learned in 2D QSR modeling and 3D QSR modeling, where only the descriptors which are responding to the biological activities, descriptors. So in general way we define that QSR is a mathematical equations which correlate wide variety of physiochemical descriptors with biological activity. This is also same features. There 2D descriptors we are responding to the biological activity. In 3D QSR modeling, 3D descriptors we are responding to that biological activity and exhibiting the relations between that biological activity and the 2D and 3D QSR descriptors. Here also in pharmacophore modeling, here also we have the pharmacophore descriptors to understand their orientations, how the atoms of the drug type of molecules are arranged into the receptor sites. And those receptors will be talking about later stage what are the pharmacophore descriptors and features, and by using those features how we are going to map their biological activities, right? So even in my beginning sessions I have also mentioned about that pharmacophore features, like how, and pharmacophore features only based on that atomic orientations, atomic levels. So it talks about the atomic property, atoms, either number of acidic atoms, number of basic atoms, number of polar atoms, number of non-polar atoms, number of positive charge atoms, number of negative charge atoms, number of hydrophobic atoms, number of ring atoms, number of acceptors atoms, number of donor atoms. These are the atoms are responding to their orientations. So finally we will find out that one of the best molecules by using this pharmacophore modeling, the lead molecules, by using these techniques, where it will show that their drug ability, like a compounds which have that drug likeness properties for a particular disease against any target, must have the number of atomic number of acceptors atoms, number of donors, hydrogen bond donor atoms, number of hydrophobic atoms, number of ring atoms, number of polar atoms, non-polar atoms, number of positive charge atoms, negative charge atoms. So then we will say that for a particular disease, for a particular target, the compound must have these things, then only those compound will be responding for a particular disease or for a particular target. Our drug must have this type of features. So the objective of entire study is to analyze their atomic orientations of drug-like compounds into the receptor sites. So now we will go back, which we have discussed about that throughout overall the QSR methodology, in terms of that finding the data's descriptors and finding descriptor evaluations, and if data is large then divided into training set and test set to validate our data, right? Training set is that unseen data, test set is the seen data, and after that we will also select that variables, how our variables can be selected for a particular drugs based on that Lipinski rule of fives, right? So and then we will analyze those variables after selections, how the variable is based on different statistical approaches, and then again we will evaluate the models which we have generated through the statistical approaches, and then we will interpret the models, and those if best model can be used for a particular purpose, and that can be used as a particular purpose in terms of that drug effect into the target site, in terms of that generating compound libraries, databases, and other aspects also which we have discussed before. Now I was talking about that pharmacophore features and descriptors in terms of like their acidic atoms, basic atoms, hydrogen bond donor atoms, hydrogen bond acceptor atoms, number of hydrophobic atoms, van der Waals surfaces, hydrophobic regions, and we have to identify also the hydrophobic atoms which are responding to that biological activities. So now the protocol, we must understand that what will be the protocols, the approaches, the methods which can be used in pharmacophore mapping and pharmacophore modelings, right? So the knowledge which we have about entire QSR methodology, the same things we will be implementing, but little differences are there where we are screening the molecules into that training set and test set, and after generating the training set and test set, we are generating the conformer of those molecules. Once we generate the conformer, right, so it will be a huge numbers, huge conformer will be there, and those conformer will divide into active and inactives, right? So and how to divide the active and inactive? So little logic is here, is that we have to first see the biological responses or experimental observed biological activities or experimental activities, and their ranges, their mean and standard deviations value, their minimum value and the maximum value in the data sets. Once we'll find the minimum and maximum value, right, and the mean value and the standard deviations, how the variations are there from the mean, right? Once we map these things, then easily we can divide into training set and test set. Let me give you one example, like if suppose our data set have the 10 compounds, right? And 10 compounds, their biological response is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 micromole, suppose. So in that case, what will be doing it, if you want to divide into like more than into active and inactive, and if you say that more than 60% compound should be active and less than 60 or 40% should be inactive. So what will be that ranges? How will divide it? So we will divide it more than 5. More than 5 or 6 should be more than 6, more than and equal to 6 will be active, right? So in that 6 compound will be automatically divided into 60% compound will be automatically divided into active and remaining will be inactive. So 60-40% we can divide. There is no rule as such, right, for dividing compounds into active and inactive, right? Either you can divide into 60-40%, 45-55%, and in worst cases you can divide into 70 and 30%, even to 50-50%. Once we divide these compounds into the active and inactive compounds by mapping their minimum maximum values in the data set and mean value and standard deviation value, so easily we can understand what are those compounds in terms of the 60%, 50% will be active and remaining will be inactive. Once we divide into active and inactive compounds, then we will find the hypothesis for each actives and inactives compounds, right? Find hypothesis. So this is the hypothesis we will generate. This is the assumptions, right? We will generate. Once we will find the hypothesis, then we have to score the hypothesis. Score for first for active compounds and score for the inactive compounds for each hypothesis, right? And each hypothesis have the active compound, inactive compound, and the training set and test sets, right? So training set may have the active compound and inactive compound both, and test set also similar fashion. Test set also may have the active and inactive compounds as a combination, because we have divided in beginning itself into the training set and test sets, right? And then each score hypothesis, that's each hypothesis, once we score it, each hypothesis have the set of compounds, right? Then next will be that build a QSR models based on the each hypothesis, whatever. So it will generate that like more than 100 hypotheses, right? In a one pocket we have to divide while finding the hypothesis, right? So it will be like a more than 100 hypotheses. In the 100 hypotheses, we have to analyze, see that how the training test result is, how the test set result is, right? Okay. So and what are that mapping parameters will be there, like their R square value, regression coefficient value will be there, R square CV value will be there, right? Validation coefficient will be there, right? So these are the parameters will be there to map that all this hypothesis, different hypotheses. So out of 100 hypotheses, suppose we said 100 hypotheses, few hypotheses will fall, like which have more than R square value more than 0.5, R square CV value, which we have discussed before. These all these things right? So more than 0.5. So only few hypotheses will be there. So we will again separate all the hypotheses which we have more than 0.5 R square value and R square CV values. So suppose we say that 10 hypotheses have the more than 0.5 R square and R square CV value. Then out of 10 hypotheses, definitely one hypothesis will be there which gives that more R square and R square CV value which will reaches towards the 1. So once we will see that, by taking that hypothesis we will build the QSR model, right? So once we will build the QSR model, right, it will analyze all these things in terms of their observed biological activities which we have defined, given as an input, predicted biological activity, their RMSD value, their fit values into that, like all this analogs of the compounds which are fitting to the same place and have the same orientations as the parents compounds, right? And all the features there, R square value and R square CV value will be there. So the best model will be taken into for that interpretations. Once we interpret by using the statistical approach, algorithm approach, data mining approaches, right, and then the programming approaches, then only we will take those models for a particular purpose, for a particular functions, for implementing and we can say easily that this type of this hypothesis which gives that good QSR model have set of compounds, and those compounds are responding in a similar fashions, in a similar way, and those compounds have that these types of pharmacophore features to become a drug, right? And which will be like suppose anti-cancerous drugs have like 4 features, like anti-cancerous drugs must have one hydrogen bond donor atoms, hydrogen bond donor acceptor atoms, one ring atoms, one ring and one hydrophobic atoms, right? So suppose we assume, so any anti-cancerous drugs must have these 4 features. If any cancerous drugs which are there in markets, if it's not having any of the features, those drugs may not have the drug likeness properties for becoming anti-cancerous drugs. So there are two programs are there for analyzing these types of work. Is called, one is the COMFA and then another is the COMSIA, right? COMFA based on the comparative molecular field analysis, and that COMSIA is the comparative molecular similar indices analysis. So here we'll talk about first the COMFA. So in COMFA, this is the same things where that atomic orientation into the receptor site, but here this COMFA, which described by the value of molecular fields calculated at 0.3D grids, and the molecular fields are usually steric and electrostatics, and we analyze the partial least squares which correlate the field of values with the biological activity, and a common pharmacophore is required. What is common pharmacophore? Like plenty of drugs have the one common pharmacophore, a common features, right, which is responding to become a drug. So what is the partial least squares value? This is the purely statistical methods, right? And it's a regression methods. And why we use this method? Why? Because of instead of finding the hyperplanes of minimum variance between the response and independent variables, it finds a linear regressions model by projecting the predicted values and the observed variables, right? So finally, it will reduce the high dimensional data into the low dimensional space, and it will give the more accurate value of two component. One will be the observed activity, another will be the predicted activity, and it will correlate these two variables, observed biological activity and the predicted biological activity, and it will establish the relationship between the features of the of pharmacophores, right? So by using the PLS results, which can be represented as a contour plots, and these plots can be visualized by different color representations, right, of the atoms, right? Some atoms will be steric favorables, which can be represented in green colors. Some will be steric unfavorables, which can be represented in yellow colors, right? This will be categorized into steric and electrostatical. So this green and yellow comes under the steric effect, and that another will be the red and blue comes under the electrostatical effect. So in red colors, which we say that electronegative favorable atoms, right, range, and that electronegative will be the like blue will be the electronegative unfavorable regions or the atoms. So here we can say that one of that work has been published, right, which shows that, right, for a anti-cancerous drugs must have that number of hydrogen bond acceptors, number of hydrogen bond donors, and ring atoms, as well as the one hydrophobic atoms, and which is represented in terms of the favorable and unfavorable binding effects in different color representations. So one case study here which I am presenting, like in COMFA, this 3D QSR studies based on the COMFA, right? And this studies as analyzed by taking 47 aminothiazole derivatives which are responding as a cyclin dependent kinase 2 inhibitors, right? So, and the similar work has been carried out to find their atomic orientations into the receptor sites, and this model finally could be useful to employed to design selective CDK2 inhibitors and to find out the novel scaffold through the screening of the chemical databases, right? And this is also one of the methods where when we are generating the conformance of different compounds, it is fetching with the databases and taking thousands of compounds from the databases of similar scaffold, right? In that studies, the compounds which are responding in different color representations in green, yellow, red and blue in terms of their favorable and unfavorable effects into the binding sites. And finally they have found out that for being a anti-cancerous drugs, the compounds must have these types of features, right? Later it has been published also in a good journals. So later, now after this we will be discussing how to validate the models which we have discussed in 2D QSR, right, and even the 3D QSR. Same approaches will be there to validate, to analyze our models, right, once we generate through different approaches like a 2D QSR model, 3D QSR model and pharmacophore based QSR model. This is also one of the 3D QSR methods. So I hope that you have understood the concept about that methodology of pharmacophore modelings, right? And the later stage we will analyze this model. Thank you. Do you have any questions? You can ask. Thank you. Thank you so much.